to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs, such as my new best friend, Steve Norton, chairman and visionary and founder of the nonprofit Interact. Tell us about Interact, my friend. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Francisco. Interact is a 501c3 nonprofit that is going to educate, empower, and enhance the lives of people living with disabilities to edible ease. And you might ask what that means. I was a private chef before I had a massive hemorrhagic stroke in 2012. After my recovery from my stroke, which left me paralyzed on the left side, I knew I needed to reinvent myself. I knew I needed to do something because I've always been a visionary. I spent 25 years in the luxury event industry, traveled the world doing wonderful events. And now I'm a man living in a wheelchair, and I still needed to give back to the community. I had a 2% chance of living, and I survived.
What year did this happen?
2012.
Were you pissed off?
No, I wasn't. I knew when I was having my stroke, Francisco, but I had a very calm, peaceful time with myself, knowing that it's going to be okay. This was not the end of my journey, that I was going to survive and move on, and something great was going to happen from this.
This is what's really cool about you, and this is admirable. And this is indeed a message to the world, is that in misfortune, seeming misfortune, and something that could be catastrophic for a lot of individuals, you kind of saw an opportunity and you reinvented yourself.
I did, absolutely I did. In more ways than one, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
I call it now my stroke of luck. Because I can look at you right now and look at the audience and tell you I'm happier physically, mentally, and spiritually than I've ever been in my entire life. And I do everything I used to do before my stroke, except run a marathon. But I never ran marathons before, so I'm good.
So there goes the marathon.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're fine.
And what I found, Francisco, when I got involved in the disabled community here in Arizona, my whole life was centered around food. I attended the Culinary Institute of America in New York, was in the luxury event industry for 25 years, was a private chef, and then so my whole life's about food, getting together over a cup of coffee, having a great lunch with somebody, solving the world's problems, which no one can do. But I would invite people, let's go get a cup of coffee. And they'd say no. Let's go get a bite to eat. They'd say no. I'm like, well, finally I said, why not? Because it's too hard. I can't get into the restaurant. My chair doesn't fit under the table. There's no ramps to get into the restaurant. The doors are too heavy. I can't use the restrooms. People stare at me. And I thought, how sad. Because a meal is more than just a meal to feed ourselves. A meal is social interaction.
Right.
It feeds the soul to meet with somebody and have a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, at lunch together. So I saw an opportunity here in the Valley to open up an all-accessible cafe and cooking school for the disabled community.
Which is an incredible project. Tell us about that project a little bit more, because that's what you've been working on lately, and I want to focus on that a little bit. Okay. Tell us about that project and the name of that particular project.
I got very involved with an organization here in Phoenix called Ability 360.
Ability 360.
It's an independent living center down here on Washington Street. Amazing facility, state of the art. It consists of two buildings. One building houses all of the associations that help people with disabilities: traumatic brain injury, Spinal Cord Injury Alliance, MS Society, Autism United. All the associations that help people with disabilities, gives them resources, whatever they may have. The other facility is a completely adaptable gym, that whatever your disability is, the machines and the classes are adapted to that. And I mean state of the art, like contemporary. It's only 5 years old. Wow. And after I became disabled, you only get about 30 visits a year to physical therapy through insurance. So I turned to this gym to continue my workout program to build my strength back. And I met more and more people. Well, I saw an opportunity because I wanted to get a cup of coffee. I wanted to get a bite to eat with somebody. There was nowhere on the whole campus to get something to eat except vending machines. So I saw this opportunity to create this accessible cafe here because I was going to be promoting to the disabled community, and this is where they all go.
Why is it that, as a society, we tend to look at the disabled community with condescension, with pity sometimes, and we look at you differently? I mean, why? I mean, what do we need to do
Just look at this.
in our ignorance? What do we need to do to change that mindset?
Look at us like everybody else. We do everything everybody else does.
Except you don't run a marathon. But
I don't run a marathon, but I ran marathons before. Exactly.
You ran a marathon before.
I see people I never had pity on myself. And the thing is just treat us like everybody else.
Yep.
Just come up and talk to us, say hello. You know, the most important thing is don't try to do things for us unless we ask for it. Because that's where things kind of get, not hairy, but people are uncomfortable. Because we want to be independent. I want to live my own life. I drive, I live independently, I go to the grocery store, I go get my hair cut, I do everything you do, Francisco, but I just do it a little differently. You know, it takes me about 3 to 4 times longer to do something than it used to when I was able-bodied, but I'm fine with that. I've adjusted my life with that now. You know, and creating this this accessible cafe and cooking school. Another part of my story, Francisco, is I suffered my stroke because I was obese.
Right.
I was over 268 pounds. I've lost over 100 pounds, completely turned my blood work around by the way that I eat. And I saw so many other individuals in the disabled community eating unhealthy, getting pressure sores, secondary conditions, that if they just looked at food as medicine, they would avoid a lot of these conditions. So that's part of my mission now, is to educate and empower people and equip them with the knowledge to eat healthier and how food can affect their lives.
Which is an interesting point, because a lot of us, we eat bad because we just
eat bad.
We just eat bad. I mean, it could be a matter of not being educated about, you know, the right foods, etc. And some other might be just a behavioral problem. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted to ask you. In the disabled community, is it any different?
No, it's not different. There's people that are athletics, all the Paralympians, they eat very healthy because they're
Sure.
training. You know, but then there's people that don't eat healthy. I, for one, I was educated, I have the nutritional background, but I did not eat healthy. I cooked extremely healthy for the family I worked for.
And did I hear correctly, you were 100 pounds heavier?
Heavier, yes. You heard me correctly.
And you lost those 100 pounds by just switching your diet?
On March 15th of 2013, 14 weeks after my stroke, my doctor came into my hospital room and said, "You know why you're here, don't you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I had a stroke." Kind of looked at him like, "Of course, you idiot." But no, he said, "No, you didn't take care of Steve." He said, "I've talked to your family, I've talked to all your friends that have come to visit you, I've talked to everybody in your life, and you took really good care of everybody else, even the family you worked for. You cooked extremely healthy for them, but you failed to take care of yourself, and that's why you're here." So that night, I decided I needed to make a change. I needed to make a lifestyle change. And I thought, what can I control? I can control what I put in this hand and put in this mouth. So I started doing that, and I went to a plant-based whole foods diet. No,
Your phone's ringing. You want to take that?
No, I'm sorry. I should have turned it off. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I decided that I needed to go extreme because this was an extreme matter.
Yeah.
And I slowly started to make changes, slowly. And then all of a sudden, a few pounds came off. All of a sudden, the next doctor took me off a medication. Wow, this is better.
When the first few pounds came off, that must have served as an incredible motivator, because you're like, okay, whatever I'm doing is
right.
working.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was the 5 or the 10 pounds, you saw a difference and you went, wait a minute. Maybe I'm on the right path.
You're on exactly. And then I went back to my true education of nutrition, and I started thinking about food as medicine. Because I was on 26 medications when I left the hospital.
Jesus.
Not only is that horrible for your body, but think of the cost.
Sure.
Now I'm down to 6.
And it's just because you changed the way that you ate?
My doctor, I had some blood work done, because I go every 6 months to my doctor. He said, "Steve, when I first met you on November 28th, the night of your stroke, the morning after your stroke, your blood work was that of a 90-year-old man that was dying. Your blood work today is that of a 35-year-old athletic triathlete."
Wow. Well, that's amazing.
And I know it's all by food and my mission and what I've done to change my way that I eat.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, overall favorite food, is Indian.
Indian food.
I love the spices. I love the way it's cooked. I love the look of it too, the presentation of it. It's one of my favorites.
Food has an incredibly healing power in many ways, not only nutritionally, of course, if you eat right, but also spiritually.
Spiritually,
because
absolutely.
It brings us together, doesn't it?
As a group.
As a group.
And so many people in the disabled community don't go out of the 4 walls in their house. Yes, there's a lot of us that get out and live life and embrace life, but there's so many others we don't know about that sit at home and stare at 4 walls and are eating the boxed macaroni and cheese, the McDonald's that they're ordering, or the pizza, and they just eat it. And they just get bigger, and they have pressure sores, they have pain. I can tell you, I sleep like a rock now. I sleep better than I've ever slept in my life. I have no pain. I have none of the secondary conditions that other people have that don't eat healthy. And this goes for the able-bodied world too, not just the disabled body.
You know, Steve, I would dare to say that the ones that are disabled are a lot of us, because we fail to realize, as you have, the value and the power of certain things in life, that you've come to realize that, you know, I am able to do so many things now, and to be so aware of the many things now in my life that perhaps we might take for granted. And we're
Exactly. And I was one of those, I took a lot for granted, you know, and I, you know, wasn't aware of the disabilities as I am now, obviously, because I'm living in the life, but it's really woken me up. And it's made me realize there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of great, wonderful things for the disabled community, and a lot of disabled people out there doing a lot of great, wonderful things for the able-bodied community. One of the things at my cafe and cooking school, not only is it going to be accessible for the front of the house for people coming to visit, I'm going to employ people with disabilities, so the entire kitchen is going to be accessible.
And the cooking school is for both disabled and everybody.
Yes, exactly.
And that is amazing, because it will bring awareness to all of us that you know, hey, we shouldn't separate and put the disabled people in just one class, but
Exactly.
we're all in this thing together.
And one of the great things about it is, I have a saying, accessibility is more than just a parking space. Because when you think of disability, you think of the parking spaces.
Yep.
Everybody thinks of that, the wheelchair parking space. But there's so much more than that, so much beyond that, that makes things accessible.
My dear friend, you are an example. You are somebody that I admire, somebody that we should all take just a little bit of a page from your life and hope that we can rise to at least just a little bit
Well,
to
thank
the
you.
level in which you are. And I certainly appreciate that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Steve
Thank
Norton,
you for your time today.
Hey man, I tell you what don't you take us out? You know, to take us out over here, you can just say we're out, and then we're out.
We're out.